Hi, I'm Jan.
I'm Tracy.
And we are in Tallinn, Estonia.
We could go anywhere.
That'd be fun to ride a bicycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
So tell us what we're going to do today.
All right, so good morning. All right, so we are in Tallinn, Estonia. We are here for an overnight. So we do not have to be back on the ship until 3:30 tomorrow. But for today, what we're going to do is we're going to walk down into Tallinn, into the old town center, and just kind of walk around town and kind of get to know the city here. The port terminal is very modern. It reminds me kind of like some of the ones you get in the Caribbean.
So Tallinn has spent a lot of time and money to use this area to rebuild it into the culture kilometer. So it is a nice short walk to the old town. So we've gotten off the cruise promenade and now we are walking into the old town, and it's about a mile walk, so maybe 15 minutes.
All right, right back behind me is Fat Margaret. Fat Margaret is a tower complex that used to go all the way around the city of Tallinn. It's named because this is the largest, basically, tower. And as you go underneath here, you go through this gate that was built around the 1500s. We go into our old part of Tallinn.
So we are on Pick Street, which means Long Street, and this is the long street that would go from the city center down to the port. Behind me is the Three Sisters Hotel, and what it used to be is one of the best examples of a merchant class house. You'll notice that the doors are very ornately decorated, and that signified the height of the Hanseatic League, the wealth that was in the city in the 15th century.
All right, so the church behind me is St. Olaf's. Today it is a Baptist church, but previously had been a Lutheran church. It was built back in the 1100s. It has a huge tall spire. It was basically the longest structure in the land. And what that means is sailors would actually use it as a way to navigate into Tallinn. The other thing about the spire is you're going to see there's some reconstruction that's going around, but it's not the first time it's been reconstructed. It is actually burnt down 3 times because of lightning strikes, because that spire it creates a really good lightning rod. Actually, the old former KGB headquarters is actually deceptively very pretty. There is a plaque here, and underneath it wrote, "This is where the path of suffering for thousands of Estonians started." Kind of a grim reminder of what actually happened in these halls.
We are in Tallinn, not Texas.
All right, so just like many of the stops we've had, the Hanseatic League, whether it's in Hamburg or whether it was Copenhagen or Visby, played a part in this region. Love the bells, it's right at 10:30. In any event, that was also true here in Tallinn. Now, remember the Hanseatic League was basically a guild or a confederation of merchants, and you had different guilds. The Great Guild here was almost German, actually. It wasn't necessarily people from Estonia, but to be in the Great Guild, you had to be married. Well, if you were a German and you weren't married yet, you're a merchant, you were in a lesser guild, which is the Blackheads. This is where they would meet. It goes all the way back into the 1200s, and this is now used as concert halls.
So as Jan had mentioned before, the lesser guild, the Guild of the Blackheads, was where the unmarried Germans went to, but once you became a full member, you went to the Great Guild. This is a Great Guild hall. It's no longer used as a hall, but this epitomized the wealth of the Hanseatic League merchant class. And right now, as of today, it is now a museum.
All right, so we're in the Tallinn town square. Behind me, we have the Tallinn town hall. Very cool about it. This is actually the oldest town hall of all of the Baltic Scandinavia. It's really cool. Started construction in the 1200s, completed in 1404. The town square is really pretty cool because it has lots of different shops and everything during around Christmas. You have a Christmas market. In fact, remember I talked about the Guild of the Blackheads? In 1441, they erected the very first Christmas tree ever displayed in Europe. So pretty cool. Yeah, this town hall is absolutely fantastic. The other thing we find here is the oldest pharmacy in Europe is actually found here. The other thing is we see that there's a reason why this whole town hall and the square is actually on the UNESCO World Heritage List.
Okay, so right behind me is the former church called St. Nicholas Church. This was a Gothic style church that was built in the 13th century, and it served the German merchant class for religious purposes. It was burned to the ground in 1944 during the World War II when the Germans and the Soviets were fighting over this territory. Today it is a museum.
All right, so right behind me is the Alexander Nevsky Russian Orthodox Church. It was consecrated in 1901. It was kind of a poke in the eye to the Estonians by the Russians who were controlling the area at that time. And then right across from the church, what you have is you have the Toompea fortress, which today is the site of the Estonian Parliament.
So adjacent to the Toompea Castle, the Parliament building, is the tall Herman Tower, the Pick Herman. And why this is important, it was a tower that was built starting in the 14th century, and it is very symbolic to Estonians everywhere because at the top of the tower, although you can't see it very well because it isn't breezy, it's the Estonian flag. So this flag was flown on Estonian Independence Day, which was February 24th, 1989, and it had been replaced by the Soviet flag that was there when the Soviets occupied from 1918 to 1989.
All right, so that's pretty much as Tallinn. Now we've actually had incredible weather so far. As you saw earlier, that we had a period of time where there wasn't a cloud in the sky. However, it's been raining for about the last 2 hours, so
we're gonna run back to our ship before we get soaking wet.
all right. So next stop is
Stockholm.
Stockholm. Yes, Stockholm. So if you want to continue traveling with us, come on along. We have lots of more traveling after this. Please go on and subscribe, hit that like, and as always, keep on traveling.
There you go.